News has reached me of a second woman coming forward to accuse Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax, of sexual assault. I would like to read a statement. There are many times in a man's life when his will, courage, and strength is tested. As a man who is being tested on all of these qualities, I reiterate my support of Justin Fairfax. These questionable women coming out of the woodwork and pulling a Kavanaugh on Justin Fairfax shows that our society has gone too far. Some may ask me why I'm giving my support to a Democrat. The fact of the matter is that politics isn't everything. In order for society to survive, men of good breeding need to cross the aisle in the name of civility and unity. Party should not decide our ultimate loyalties. Family should. Let it be known that Albert Fairfax and the Fairfax family stands firmly behind one of its many scions. Justin Fairfax is innocent. The Fairfax family is innocent.
Albert Fairfax. It's me, Albert Fairfax, the conservative icon. Albert Fairfax.
I just want to get one thing clear, okay, to you leftist sickos, okay, that you can't call everyone a Nazi, okay? This is Albert Fairfax. Welcome to the Albert Fairfax Show. I'm your host, Albert Fairfax II. Okay, so, you can't call everyone a Nazi, okay? Bush, Reagan, Trump. Yeah, I was on YouTube and I was watching a video about the pros and cons of right-wing dictator Mussolini, who led Italy in the Second World War, okay? And I saw this comment from a leftist, with a Che Guevara profile, where this is going, and he called Mussolini a Nazi, okay? Listen, Nazis were not right-wing. They were not conservative, okay? You look at their name, National Socialists. They were socialist fuckos, okay? They were socialists. Mussolini was a type of right-winger known as a fascist, okay? So how about you stop, defining us by your extremes that you assign to us, okay? You're making all these different types of conservatives, whether it's, Reagan, Bush, Milton Friedman, Mussolini, Mobutu. You're making them, you're casting them in this light to make them look deranged or crazy, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I had. I came into the station full speed today, but I had to get off my chest. Okay. I mean, it seems like the left loves to call everything that they hate Nazis. When in fact, no, they are not members of the National Socialist Party of Germany. Richard Spencer is not a Nazi. I mean, just because I'm proud of the white race doesn't make me a Nazi or a racist. And just because Mussolini is a fascist, that doesn't make him a Nazi. So how about, you leftists, you Stalinist Sandinistas, think about what you say before you assign us some extremist label. You Maoist Stalinists. Why don't you go starve 100 million people? I mean, when you add up all the leftist atrocities, the Great Leap Forward, the, Stalin's purges, and Adolf Hitler, actually, it adds up to quite a large death toll. Because Adolf Hitler was a leftist, and I stick by my words. I mean, Hitler had some good, some interesting ideas too, but. Some conservative that were good, but he was. What made him bad was the leftism. That's what I'm trying to say, is that Hitler was tainted by leftism. It was like a fork in the road moment for him. He had some really good ideas, but then he decided to go down the leftist route, the socialist route, the Marxist route. Really, Hitler had a choice, didn't he? But that's a topic for another episode. The thing about the left is that, they want you to think about Adolf Hitler when you think of conservatism. As I've already mentioned before, this is inaccurate because Hitler wasn't a conservative. I think we need to be thinking about maybe talking about real conservatives to counter the left. Because I think they're trying to skew what conservatism looks like in practice. Great leaders throughout world history. Ronald Reagan, a great man who waged two simultaneous wars, didn't he? A war on communism, through bringing Russia to its knees and fighting communists in Central America by any means necessary, and also fighting the war on drugs, fighting the epidemic of cocaine flowing from Central America. Boris Yeltsin, a great man who brought free market economics to Russia. Now, Russia, ever since the Soviet Union fell, is a much nicer place to live. Look at the statistics. Look at the polling. Boris Yeltsin is a great man. You go throughout history. Mobutu of the Congo, otherwise known as Zaire, who, with help from Belgium and from the United States, he overthrew the communist Lumumba. And for 30 years, he ruled Congo, bringing capitalist principles and anti-communist principles. Now Congo is a glowing jewel of Africa, isn't it? Thank you to capitalism and to the West and to America. Suharto of Indonesia is another one that comes to mind. A great man who took power in Indonesia and purged the country of its communists, and paved the way for Indonesia to become a great power, a great economic power today. He purged so many communists. He purged up to 3 million of them, killed up to 3 million communists, most of them ethnically Chinese. Up to 3 million. Could you imagine if the communists had taken over Indonesia? Millions, innocent people could have died. But thank you to Suharto, with backing from the United States and with the wisdom of capitalism, he managed to turn the tide. You go throughout world history. We can find so many great conservative figures. And to counter this narrative that all conservatives are Adolf Hitler. So to wrap up this show, I think a good takeaway of this is that we need to counter this leftist messaging, because they're trying to make people in America think of conservatives as Adolf Hitler, and we need to counter with good imagery of real conservative leaders. Put real conservative leaders into the minds of Americans and people worldwide. Ronald Reagan, make people think of Ronald Reagan when they think of the word conservatism. Make people think of Boris Yeltsin, of Suharto, of Mobutu. Make people think of Pinochet or Mussolini. Make people think of those who stood against communism in the darkest years of the Cold War, because that's what it's about. Because at the end of the day, it's not about high-minded idealism. It's about the actions that we took. It's about what happens when conservative ideology is embraced. So I hope you take that home with you. And honestly, I want to thank you guys, because I came into the show, hot and heavy, and I was very angry, but being able to talk it out with you guys makes me feel a lot more fulfilled. And makes me feel a lot less alone. Because I think someone of my intellect, and perhaps, some of your intellects are probably pretty high, on a scale, compared to me, maybe not as much, but that's beside the point. It's nice to know I have a community of fellow intellectuals that enjoy my content. And I hope to see you next week for another episode of The Albert Fairfax Show. Good night.
Albert Fairfax, Albert Fair, Albert Fair, Albert Fair, Albert Fair.